What's up, guys? And today we're going to be looking at the top cards in Steel that you need for your collection. Now, this is an updated list, so if you haven't seen the other video, check it out up there. That is going to be the top 10 cards you needed from set 1 through 3. We're going to be looking back at that list a little bit, but also seeing what needs to come off these lists, what needs to be added to these lists as you prepare for going into set 5. But before we do that, I just want to thank you guys for supporting the channel and hitting that sub button, hitting the like button. We're closing in on those 1,000 subs so we can get monetized. If you want to help out the channel, make sure to hit that sub button. But also, if you want to help out the channel and you're interested in picking up any of these cards, make sure to click that link down below for tcgplayer.com. So if you use that link down below, all you gotta do is click it, buy whatever you're buying. A portion of that will help come support the channel here. So appreciate you guys for doing that and everybody that has already done that since we got affiliated with them. So appreciate you guys so much. And let's jump into the card. All right, so if you watched the last video, you saw some really good cards on that list like Beast, Robin Hood, Strength of the Raging Fire, all those staples that you're going to need. But we've had a few more cards pop up, as well as cards that I think are probably going to be pretty good going into set 5. And that's what we're going to be doing and looking at the list. As far as cards that would come off the list that we have, you can see that list right there. I don't think anything necessarily comes off this list. I think every card here is still a staple card. It's still being used. That may not be true for some of the other colors in the future videos that will be coming out, but for Steel, I think all of these cards are good. They're cards that you probably want in your collection if you don't already have them, especially when you're building decks. Now, there are a few cards that I want to add to this list though. So starting off, the card that I want to add, Aladdin Brave Rescuer, is a card that really showed up with the Bucky decks. But honestly, guys, even with Bucky going away, you don't care that he's a Floodborn. This guy is a 3-drop, a repeatable item destroyer, and I think that's going to be very big key for going into set 5. If you guys didn't see, Blue Steel became a really big deck in set 4, and with Bucky going away, I think the deck sticks around. We've got a lot of new, really great cards in Blue Sapphire that you can leverage in that shell, and so I think you're going to need some removal. Now on the last list, we had Benja, and I think that Benja is still a great card. I love that he works as he comes down, but in some of these cases with Blue Steel, you may need to do that multiple times. So if you're in a shell, unlike maybe Amethyst, where you can bounce her Benja back and reuse them, Aladdin is going to be key. And maybe even you have some kind of split between Benja and Aladdin to destroy all those items that are going to be popping up in set 5. Speaking of items, the next one on the list is Fortisphere. So if you've played any of the item decks, especially the Blue Steel, you know how good Popsicle and Flaversham is. Well, Fortisphere is just another Popsicle. It's an easy draw one card as it comes out. Flaversham is going to let you draw more cards as you go, but it's also allowing you to give bodyguard to a character on the board. So all in all, I think this is a great pickup. It's super cheap. It's a common, but this is going to be a staple moving forward in any of the item decks, or even if we start to see some type of Amber Steel bodyguard deck that a lot of people are looking at. All right, so next up on the list, yeah, this one didn't quite make the list last time, and it's still probably at the bottom of the list this time. But because Shimmering Skies didn't give us another really good damage to all character card, I'm going to throw in Grab Your Swords. Grab Your Swords is a great card to have because it does do 2 damage to everything. The other reason why I'm really eyeballing this card is we've seen a lot more aggro decks starting to pop up, especially the Amber Amethyst aggro deck, or maybe we'll see a Ruby Steel type aggro deck with locations. And I think that you're going to need some removal if you're not playing red. And yeah, that's why Grab Your Swords is going to go on this list. It's a card that comes in and out of the meta a lot. We saw it come back in a resurgence of it when, Bucky decks started to become a big deck. And so I think it's still going to be a thing, especially with cards like Prince John potentially making a comeback when it comes to the discard type decks without Bucky. So Grab Your Swords is a card if you don't have, I'd probably pick up. And there's a potential that it may be a while before we see some type of reprinting or a better card than this that does area damage for Steel. So yeah, this is why it's on the list. So speaking of another card that you're probably going to need in your collection at some point, whether it's a 2 of, a 3 of, or a full play set, is going to be Rise of the Titans. Rise of the Titans is just a really, really great removal spell when it comes to locations. and it also hits items. So this is going to help in multiple matchups, whether that's against blue steel or even some of these red purple decks that are going to stick around with castles, or some of the new location stuff that people are trying to do in ruby steel. This card is going to be great. It's inkable, so it's easy to throw away if you don't need it in that particular matchup as ink, but it can hit either an item or a location, and it's a clean removal spell. So all in all, this is one of those cards where I think it's being slept on a little bit, but I would definitely consider putting it into your collection. So if you ever need to throw in 2 of, especially when we get into that world of putting actual sideboards inside of your deck, this is one of those easy cards to throw in there. So the last card I'm putting on this list is I find them, I flatten them. Yeah, I know items has been a big thing when it comes to this list, but this is going to be a card that I believe will be pretty big when those item decks show up, really heavily in set 5. Mufasa and other cards like that are going to really push Dime and other items. So you may see Ariel and Tamatoa coming back. And this one is going to be a full removal spell for all the items on the field. It's a 4-drop, it's inkable, but again, being able to banish all items in one card, and it's a song that you can sing, it's a good card. It already started to show up a little bit towards the end of this past set, and I think it's just going to continue to be used more and more throughout the time. And there you have it, guys. Those are all the cards in steel you need in your collection before the release of Shimmering Skies. Now, if I missed a card or a card that you think should be on this list, let me know down below in the comments, and make sure to check back because we will be releasing a video a day of each of these colors and the cards that you need as we get closer to the release of Shimmering Skies. Now, we will be out in Disney Springs for the release of Shimmering Skies, so let us know that you're gonna be out there, and yeah, maybe we can meet up, say hey, all that good stuff. But I appreciate you guys for everything you're doing, and until next time, I'll take it easy.